We're talking about simple machines today. And simple machines help us with everyday solutions, everyday problems and everyday solutions. So we're going to be talking about different types of simple machines. First of all, you use simple machines every day. So when you ride in a car or bus, you're using a simple machine. This is a wheel and axle. This is a type of simple machine. Here's the axle, and the wheels are turned by the axle. So when you're riding to school or from school in a car or bus, you're using a simple machine. Another example of an axle, when you open the door. This is a hinge. So this is an axle that helps you open the door. This is the actual axle that goes into this simple machine. Another example of how you use simple machines is a doorknob. The wheel in the doorknob turns the doorknob so you can open the door, and the axle is right here in the middle. So you use simple machines every day, multiple times a day. Now another example of a simple machine is an inclined plane. So when I have an inclined plane, I think of it as a hill. So I apply the force right here, and this force is helping me drag this block up the hill. Now I can think of it as a moving box. I can think of it as a wheelchair. Because if I were just to drag this box across the table, or I were to just pick up that wheelchair, I'm putting in a lot of effort. But this inclined plane helps me pull this box or this wheelchair up the ramp. And that's a simple machine. Now, another type of simple machine you may not have been thinking about is a screw. A screw is an inclined plane, like this. And a screw helps me every single day as a simple machine.
All right, well, that's some good information, Ms. Smith. We've got simple machines in our axles. We've got simple machines in our inclined planes. Guys, it's all about that force and motion that it takes to get your inclined plane, or to get your simple machine rather to help you out. Guys, there's really just a handful of these. Our inclined plane is a big one. Our wheel and axle is another one. One of the other ones we have is a wedge. You may not realize you're using these a lot of the times. When you do, here I've got two blocks that are simply put together with a couple rubber bands, and so obviously they want to be together, but it's pretty easy with a wedge to separate those two things, right? Well, you may not hold these very often, but I bet many of you have used a nail. Well, a nail has got a very sharp tip on it, and when I apply force on the end of the nail to drive it into the wood, well, I am separating that wood with the nail. I'm splitting it apart. Well, of course, the wood wants to, of course, squeeze the nail, so of course that's what holds the nail. But that wedge on the tip of the nail is what makes it possible for the nail to go into the wood. And so actually, Miss Smith's screw that she had a minute ago actually has a wedge at the tip, and then it is followed by that inclined plane that is wrapped around that screw. Another one of our simple machines is a lever. Okay. Well, I've driven a nail into this wood here, and I've got what is it's called a cat's claw or a pry bar, and I can use it, and it would take a lot of force for me to pull this out with my hand. In fact, it'd be impossible for me to pull that out, but with just a little bit of force on the end of this lever, it's really quite doable. In fact, it comes out really pretty simple, and that's because the amount of force that I'm putting here is amplified by the simple machine and puts a lot greater force on the nail to make sure that it comes out. A shovel. This is my little military shovel. Love this little thing, but it is also a wedge. I use this to push into the dirt, and it separates those the dirt particles away from each other. But then, guess what else I have on here? I now have also a lever. And so I use the wedge to get into the dirt. I then use the lever to pry that dirt right out of the ground. Okay? And so therefore, this is indeed a couple of machines together. One of the last ones we're going to talk to you guys about is this pulley, and this pulley has been fighting me all morning long. Let me see if I can get it fixed real quick here. All right, we've gotten the pulley fixed now. Took a little bit of effort here, but anyway, I have basically on the end of our pulley, end of our string here, is just a little bag of marbles, just serving as our weight. They're obviously not heavy. Doesn't take a whole lot of force for me to pick these up. But if this were something that was really quite, had quite a bit of mass to it, it was quite heavy, well, then I would need probably some sort of a simple machine to aid me in moving that item. Now I could use an inclined plane to drag it up a hill, but if I simply wanted to raise it up and set it in the back of something, like say our pickup truck here or whatever it may be, well, a pulley is excellent for this. And basically what happens is I only have to put half of the force here to lift our mass, our item, because the pulley is actually holding half of the mass is on each side of the pulley. So I only have to do half of the pulling, half the amount of force, in order for that to come up off the ground. Instead of me pulling on this side where I need to pull up 100% of the effort, that's where my pulley aids me quite significantly. Now,